Hello everybody. This particular video is directed to the FAA. And it has really nothing to do with building, guys. I'm sorry, but this is the one that I'm actually sending into the FAA. And I just want to bring this up because the new rules are going to greatly hurt us if they pass. And again, this is not to you guys. We're not talking about building today at all. So, but I want everybody that's on here to watch and share this a little bit if you can. Because I've seen a lot of people that are actually making some waves that really shouldn't be. And it's not really in my place to go, but I just want to start off. This is directly to you, the directors of the FAA. My name is Peter Dahlgren. I am a builder from Seattle, Washington. I am followed in 19 countries all over the world. I have people from, you name a country, I'm probably there. World famous, well, more infamous, but anyway, the thing is, I've been building in this F-86 that we're looking at for the last 2 years in the public eye. I do these build series to inspire a younger generation to do something besides get on the goddamn Xbox and play bullshit all day. And I'm sorry, I'm very crude. I'm a little obnoxious sometimes, but I'm actually a little pissed off too, because I think one of the biggest things is that I hear an awful lot about a 400-foot cylindrical rule, which that's not gonna work. First of all, ladies and gentlemen, this is a line of sight hobby. It can't be anything more than what it is. There's no cameras on board. There is kind of a computer. I'm going to explain this in a minute before anybody jumps out of their seat. Well, there you go. No. These are flown on telemetry systems that tell us what our gas turbines and little things that are going on in our jets, as well as very expensive radio engines. And we're talking about thousands of dollars that is invested into these things to be actually considered. Ladies and gentlemen, this jet is 9 feet long. It flies on a 38-pound thrust jet engine, which I'm going to show you, because I want to talk to you guys about the safety and why we're not anywhere near and how we can even be considered in the same category as a drone. This is a jet that runs 160G gas start engine, puts out roughly 39 pounds of thrust. And it has to, because that is a 35-pound airplane. And with Jet A being a roughly 6.5 pounds per gallon and holding 1.5 gallons, I get 10 minutes of flight time with this engine. And so I just want to bring in the facts that there's been a lot of things about this 400-foot rule, because this is actually a quarter scale F-86, which means it's 9 feet long, meaning the real one, if you times it by 4, would be 36 feet long, which is about right. And that being said, this takes about 650 feet on a runway. We have, 650 feet just to be able to get up enough airspeed for this to lift off, because it flies like a real airplane. There is no cameras in these airplanes. I mean, maybe if you want to put one on there, but it's not for any type of, it's not this is not something that you're going to fly off of a cell phone or with a visor on. It won't work. You will definitely crash it if you tried to fly it on a visor. There's guys that have tried to make true to form controls, seats with sticks, rudder pedals, and all that stuff to fly these. Didn't work. You can put cameras in these, take pictures if you wanted to, but you're too busy flying this airplane to do that. And so one of the biggest things about it is that you'll never fly this in your front yard unless you're Bill Gates or something. You've got a 1,000-foot runway in your front yard. You're not going to do it with one of these. And you're not going to be able to fly even one of the foamies that you buy at the hobby shop, in your local hobby shop, if you're lucky to have those anymore. And then you have the guys that build the quarter scales for competition like I do, and like several thousand people do in this country and all over the world. It's a kind of a big deal. 400 feet, we fly in a circle racetrack pattern. It's either going to go one way or the other. Into the wind, we don't land downwind. It's the same basic traffic pattern as the absolute real thing. Helicopters are line of sight. Any airplane is going to be line of sight. There's no smart airplanes out there to go out there and fly themselves and just go and do it. And then, you know what, that takes the fun of it away anyway. If you could fly one in and out of sight, why would you want to do that? You're not going to get spectacular air shots with one of these. It's just not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. It's ridiculous to even think about it. They vibrate too much, and if you like looking at blurry photos out of an airplane, the engines do. Now, on a jet, it might be different. There's not a vibration issue in those, but we're still not going to do it because we're flying the airplane. And we don't get them ridiculous out of the deal. And there's also a safety record that I want to point out that's never had an issue with anything that we've done. And I'm talking no major problems, because the AMA's insurance has always been a good thing, and we just, with the little laws what we are, we're near 10 miles of any airport. We're not allowed to do that. We have rules which I'm sure you're completely and totally aware of. Now, I've been an AMA member for 40 years now. And I strongly believe in it. I believe that we are, if not, we should be in more good stand. Our safety record speaks for itself. And I think one of the big things is, I just want to bring up too, that by doing 400 feet, it's going to ruin a lot of things. And this, I'm not talking about ruining our good time. It will damn sure put a big damper on a lot of manufacturers. It's going to actually destroy a lot of local businesses, because why would you buy something that you can't play with? And that alone brings me up to the fact is that our younger generation, I'm going to tell you right now, I am an AMTE, Aviation Mechanical Technical Engineer. I do avionics on light aircraft here in Arlington, Washington. I work for myself, Northwest Aviation. And I am also a pilot, and I am also an airframe and power plant mechanic. I do all of it. And what got me into that was starting with building these. I started building these when I was 10 years old. Rubber band things, drove mom and dad crazy. It made a mess in the house. I had wood tracked in from here to Austin, Texas. It was crazy. But it did teach me responsibility. It taught me a lot of things. It brought me closer to my grandfather. It brought me closer to a lot of things. And it also taught me things like respect and attention to detail, which when I went into the Navy in 1984 actually made things a little bit easier on me because I understood what attention to detail was. Because if you build one of these wrong, it won't fly. And believe me, I've had my failures along with my successes, and I tell people don't worry about it, but it's absolute truth. And I think one of the biggest things with, as in a lot of things that come out into life as a whole, is that some of our greatest achievements in life were due to model airplanes. The Wright brothers built models of their planes to go test fly them. They built them and put them in wind tunnels to make them better. Without the model airplanes and things in our society and things like that, we're just stagnating. I think one of the biggest things that's really wrong with a lot of our society on these days is the fact is that we don't have any places local to fly. We have to take these to Wenatchee, Washington. I live in Stanwood. That's a 250-mile round trip to be able to go fly somewhere. And let's face it, in today's society and with the way things have gone with a lot of our economies and the way our taxes have been and this and that, a lot of people just aren't going to be able to go out there and just do that. There's a lot of clubs around, but they're private and they're full. And you're not open to the public. They're private property places and this and that, and they do that so that they can go and do what they want to do. And unless there's an area on there, a lot of people just can't afford to go out and buy 75 acres to build a flying field. And that's the minimum we would need to do this. And that's to make it a safe zone. In Fort Lauderdale, Florida, they built one on a landfill. And it's out of the way, completely away from any air traffic and this and that, and it's working for them. And it's a beautiful place to fly. And then you got other areas which are completely and totally not within our grasp. And club memberships are not cheap because we're having to pay for all these other deals and liaisons to come talk to you. And with the advent of the drone, that became a big problem. A lot of near misses, I get it. But you know, when you come up there and you look at that, they're not in the line of sight. They're flying at night and they're doing this and that and whatever. It's not about the realtors going out there and just taking aerial shots of everything. It's about people going out and buying drones and flying them anywhere. There's air traffic patterns that are in here. These guys are doing it constantly around here. I've taken pictures of it and nobody's ever said a word. But that being said, there's a lot of people that are going to make us liable for what is not even closely related. I mean, drones are flown off of cell phones, and at the same time you're doing it, oh, let's go look at this guy's house. Oh, look out for that jet. Oh, hey, we're at 1,000 feet. Well, okay, Whidbey Island's right over there, Boeing Field's over there, Arlington's right over there, and so it's a lot of other things that are in here. We've got airports all over the place. And you know what? We're not, everybody's going like, okay. So because people won't go and register their drones. This airplane is registered, by the way. And I did it because I don't want any more conflicts with the FAA. This is not in its 50-pound limit. And I want to comply, but I also want to make sure that everybody's in an understanding is that by taking it away and imposing these deals, you're not doing anything but making people to a point where they won't even be able to do it. And it's like with this one, 400 feet, I'll never even get it off the ground to do that. And I'm not the only one in that category. And then again, once you've done that, then put this in the Boeing Museum, I guess, and donate it because it's not going to do anything for me. And unless I could sell it out of the country, the shipping on it to get rid of it would be extremely expensive. Now I want to talk a little bit about the education values on these airplanes and what it means to do something like this and just what the future's been. And I'm sure a lot of you that are here that are watching this, I'm hoping that some of you have had some experiences with this, and I hope maybe it's something that'll touch base with you so you understand exactly where I'm coming from when it comes to the fact is that none of us ever really came to the point of aviation without getting started somewhere. I started building these, like I said, at 10 years old, and I built hundreds of them. I've flown them and crashed them and done everything else there is that you could possibly ever think of. But I think one of the big things is that it gave me a good solid future that I have now. And I know a lot of kids that would, when you come up there and you give them something that flies, take them to the Museum of Flight. And I would actually go out there and absolutely encourage all of you to go up there and visit the Museum of Flight in Seattle. And look at the enthusiasm level of the young kids that get in there when they see something that flies and they actually made something that flies. You've never seen excitement so amazing in your whole entire life until you've seen that. When you see some little kid that can come up there and fly a little RC helicopter out in the park out there, get so excited because he did it, felt accomplished. That is your inspiration right there for somebody that's going to get mechanical knowledge, whether they work on cars, airplanes, boats, trains, it doesn't matter. When kids learn how to tinker and their minds brighten up and they just say, wow, I did that. Wow, you see that thing fly? That was so freaking cool. Man, I built that. All I ever hear nowadays, well, I just whipped some guy's ass on Grand Theft Auto. Think I'll go and sit in the basement. Duh. You just don't hear about it. I have a kid in Nigeria that follows me on this show. And I'm going to tell you, his name's Ignatius. And he's 17 years old. And he is building airplanes out of anything he can get his hands on. And he is inspired to be an engineer. 17 years old in Nigeria. Friend of mine. In a country that you can't trust. I'm going to tell you something. You find common ground where you can get along with people in airplanes. You're not going to find one of us that doesn't. I'm sorry if I threw you under the bus there, little buddy. I had to put you in there because this is just how important this is to me. I am followed in 19 countries. This airplane has been seen in 19 countries, 10 different languages. Some of the people I talk to on the phone, I can't understand a damn thing they're saying. I got to be on a translator in order to talk to them. But you know what? I'm not saying it's going to solve our problems in the world, but at least we're all getting along. We're finding common ground. We share our knowledge in this building, techniques, and everything else that's going in. A lot of my viewers are young people. I got some old parts in there, and I get a kick out of them. But you know what? And I am one of them. So anyway, one of these deals is trying to keep a little humor in the situation. I would like you guys to really check out and see what this is. Come out to these areas where you're seeing some of these things done. And you're going to sit there and say, okay, you're not allowed to fly anything in more than 400 feet. Well, 400 feet in altitude is good, but 400 feet in length and width and this and that and on approach is not enough. Not even close. And especially for these big ones. I mean, a 50-pound model, some of these guys are big, never get it off the ground. not in 400 feet. Just no way to do it, and that that would actually limit your wingspans to smaller than the tail of this airplane or horizontal stabilizer. That means this rudder will be bigger than most of the airplanes you're allowing us to fly, and that's not fun for us. And it's a point blank, really irresponsible thing to even consider. It's a 400-foot rule, because you know what? The guys that the people that brought us into this thing are drone pilots, and these are people that got into the box and flying something that can fly itself. You can't fly this yourself if you don't know how to fly it. You're never going to get it off the ground. And even if you do, it isn't going to go very far. Your 400-foot rule might just end up being about 120 feet and see you later. And then you're going to be throwing it in the garbage, you're going to get frustrated, and you're done. I think one of the biggest things about the hobby that is so much of a deal, and just really throwing this thing on an even pace, is the fact is that not one single radio controlled airplane has ever had any near misses with any commercial airplane. None that's ever been reported to anybody. And I do remember in Boise, Idaho several years ago, we had a guy that was out flying in the parking lots and this and that, running into cars and stuff like that. That's the only one I've ever heard of, and that has been 30 years ago. We quit flying in parks a long time ago. And, Marymore Park here in Washington State, that's kind of not a good place. It's not big enough. It's just, and you can't get into it half the time anyway because it's in such bad repair, and the people that are running it just are not doing a very good job at it. This one's too big to go there anyway, and it's outlawed anyhow. Now, the one thing is that I just say is that trying to stay focused on this is, the fact is, our scale associations and a lot of our private clubs are just exactly that. And we have been told that we need, in order to start another local club, we need 75 acres. And that's kind of ridiculous to me, but okay. We're not allowed to fly within 10 miles of any airport. Okay? Reasonable. I think one of the biggest things is, with it all being said and done, is that I understand that there's been a lot of bad apples, but there's an awful lot of us that are here that are actually very responsible and try to give back to our community as much as we possibly can, to the point where we're willing to do just about anything. And that includes demonstrations, that includes anything that we need to do, and there's several of us pilots that are more than happy to come out and do that here, just in this state alone. And I would not put any more sanctions on it. We don't need any additions to the AMA. Screw that. We don't need additional insurance. I would go and look at any AMA sponsored club and see how many times they've actually made any insurance claims. Any claims. I guarantee you there's not very many. Our track record has been done. There's been no buildings destroyed. There's been nothing like this. Might be some little deals and mishaps that have caused a little bit of damage. I know of one instance that happened outside of Lake Stevens, Washington, and that was settled by whatever. And it was a ridiculous account. Scratch concrete? That was S-Rock, by the way. And that's also a bought and owned private club. And so there's no AMA sponsored clubs around here that are open to the public. They're all closed door. And that's also kind of the reason being for is they don't want people just going in and flying and causing problems. They don't want somebody that just went and bought an airplane. Oh, I'll go throw it on and run. I see it happens. Don't do it that way. You just don't get in and fly these airplanes like that. They don't work that way. So one of the big things is that there have been a lot of instances with drones. Too many to count. It's ridiculous. I'm with you guys on keeping those under wraps. And those do need to be registered and with the GPS tracking because those people are flying out of sight. They're just going. I cannot reiterate enough. You can't do that with one of these. We never fly them at night. We don't. You can't see them. If you can't see your airplane, you cannot fly it. And it's just, that's the way these are. They're strictly line of sight. They're always in control. None of them fly more than, good God, I think 10 minutes is actually pushed an issue. And 10-minute flight time is enough. You're tired. And our camaraderie is that a lot of time when we're done flying, most of the time we're rooting on and drooling all over these things. So that's one of our things to do, and that's something drone pilots don't do. And I wish they did, because I think one of the biggest things that's a problem is that you go get a parrot drone, they advertise them on TV, and boy, you can go fly the coastline and go take off, but don't worry about anybody in front of you. Don't worry about who's in back of you, above you, or below you. When you got a camera shooting straight forward, you're not looking in line of sight. Even if you're in a drone with a visor and you're doing this, you're not doing anything but what you're looking at as a focal point. You don't know how to land, you just hit return. And it lands right in front of you. That's not flying a model airplane. Never will be. It's not flying a helicopter. They're in no way, shape, or form even relatable. And that's just exactly where I'm coming to this conclusion. By punishing the people that fly and build model airplanes, the drone pilots that are already doing what they're doing right now are going to continue to do this. They're not going to follow any of your rules like we do, and they're not ever going to, they're not going to contribute to the community like we do. Throwing Amazon and the rest of these guys and all that in there, I don't understand half of that crap with these drones, and nor do I want to, because they're not related to what I do. And speaking for a lot of people, to categorize this as a drone, it doesn't make any sense whatsoever. None. As I said, I would talk to you guys a little bit about our safety and what we got in here, and what I'm going to be talking to you, and you're more than welcome to do this. This is the receiver setup that I have for this jet. And what I'm showing you here is, this is actually the PowerSafe AR1231OT. This is a Spectrum product that has 3 additional receiver satellites on it, which means it has 4 points that's talking to our radio all the time. Not to mention it does have a stabilization gyro, but it's only talking through there. There's no GPS in this, even though we have telemetry in here. Now, let me discuss this about the GPS systems that are in these airplanes and what they do. They tell us how fast the airplane's going. they tell us the height of it. They don't give us any kind of position. They are not connected to any kind of Wi-Fi or internet of any kind or sort. There's no cameras. There's nothing in that thing that would constitute it as a drone. You're not going to fly it more than 10 minutes. So for it to be used as a weapon is ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. And that's just not going to happen. Now, I'm telling you right now, these are the 3 points for the RX, and that's the receiver RX. These are the left, right, and the back one, and plus you have your main one. 2 batteries. One is always to power that, to make sure that if one battery fails, the airplane is going to be able to return because it has a battery backup. The engine runs on its own battery, does not run on the rest of this. So if it fails, it's the engine. This is going to make sure that you can return it. So it's on a separate deal. This is the lights. This has full navigational lights on there because they're scaling the real one. So I put them on this, and they are bright, and they are visible up to 10 miles. So it's a safety feature. And it's just added, and it just looks cool. So we like it. And then this is a 12-channel receiver. I run 5,000 mAh batteries in there. It's more than enough to keep the airplane. One is enough and sufficient to fly it all day, even though you can't because it runs a gallon a minute. We have a little bit in reserve. There's a few other little things that are done in there that just make it just more fun. So this is where this is. Also, our club inspects our planes. We actually do inspect our aircraft, and we make sure that there's no unglued joints. We make sure that what's in there is safe. Nothing's cut out, nothing like that. Make sure that the airplane is going to be okay and not going to fall out of the sky and done it. I mean, this airplane comes apart in 7 pieces for transport, but at the same token, just like this, these parts are bolted through with blind nuts, and that's what holds that down. On every single panel, they are all exactly alike. And these are tapped and threaded through the top right in here. I don't have them done yet because it's not done. I have not put these in for the parts to thread them into the tubes. And when that's done, then they will actually be put in. And these are all screwed and bolted together. The whole entire airplane is bolted in 6 places inside the fuselage house. So it is there, and as you can see, the parts fit tightly and neatly. Landing gear is overrated. It's made to hold 100 pounds, not 50, even though 50 is about as where you want to be on it. And then, of course, our gas turbines have safety switches like this. This is a safety switch that turns the fuel off in case this does do something crazy. And there's another valve that goes on this one. And plus, this is done. This goes to the telemetry to tell me what the exhaust gas temperatures are. And that's the only computers that are involved in this airplane, besides what is in the radio. The radio does have a gyro in it, and it's for stabilizing and keep it stable in the wind. It's a whole head-holding gyro. It doesn't do anything. It doesn't fly the airplane. It's not an autopilot. It's nothing like that in any way, shape, or form. The only thing it does is that if the airplane gets a little bit crazy and a little bit too squirrely, it actually, whatever heading it's going, it'll keep it flat and level. So if I want to land it and slow it down, it's going to automatically compensate by keeping the airplane level. It's the same exact gyro that we use in helicopters, which are in the same category as this, by the way, and those are not in any way, shape, or form are they actually considered a drone? They are line of sight. So I think one of the biggest deals that I would like to make and make sure that the FAA does understand is that we're not trying to argue with the FAA. We're trying to work with it. We're trying to educate as well as make sure that the FAA understands that we do actually know what these things actually are in fact about and what they do. And by doing this, it's not the airplanes that are being complained about, it's the drones. Drones are not airplanes. They have 4 blades, they go out, people take them out, they buy them, you can buy them and fly off your cell phone, for Christ's sake. Everything does that now, but I mean, with the advent of the smartphone came all this other crap, and I'm just saying it out loud that I just thought, oh crap, here we go. And I knew we were going to have these conversations when it came to the point of all the people, hey, I can fly a drone, anybody can do this. Yeah. Anybody can also put one within 100 feet of a freaking Boeing jet with families on board it. And as far as airplane safety goes, I'm 100% on board with any of the FAA, any of the AMA, and we don't need any more imposters to come up here and reinvent the wheel. And that is just my whole entire 2 cents on everything there is on that. I hope that everybody will agree with what I'm saying, and I'm hoping that what I say made a difference, and I hope that explaining the concerns we have in our hobby, knowing that it's actually in jeopardy, would be in there. If anybody needs to get a hold of me on this, and you would like me to talk to any of our government officials, I am more than happy to do so. I am more than happy to advocate for anything. And I want to bring out too that it's extremely important that before decisions are made, that the hearings from people like myself and like hundreds of others can actually come in there and not necessarily argue, but we need to come to a happy medium and come together on everything there is. And there needs to be something done. We don't need less flying fields, we need more. But we need these done with the understanding of what drones and airplanes actually are. I mean, people think TAC drones, like the military's got drones. Okay, well, great. Those are actually unpiloted airplanes. They're radio controlled by a computer from somebody sitting at a desk pulling a trigger. That don't happen with one of these. There's no way it can. Then I'm sure you can build one, but you can build anything, but nobody does. And so I think one of the biggest things is that we need to come together and find a good solution together, not starting a pissing contest with the FAA. All I'm saying is that we need to come together and talk about these things on a level playing field in reality, and come out and actually make this so we are not watching our hobby go through our fingers. And these are all the things that need to be kind of brought up and made to where these understandings can actually make the hobby better in so many ways. And I know it needs to change a little bit here and there, but we don't need, even though I've already done this one, we don't need an additional agency coming and governing what the AMA has already done and done beautifully. I just, the AMA's track record is outstanding, always has been. I also would invite you guys to actually come and take a look at individuals like Frank Tiano that run really good, prestigious events that are world renowned, world competitions. And these are things that he would actually be more of a better advocate for it than I would. But I think one of the things is that we all share the same passion. And let that be known that I would do anything I had to do and make sure that my club complies with any orders that come from the FAA. But if we get an actual rule of 400 feet, no hobby business is going to stay in business selling model airplanes, not in the United States. So it'll be done. The United States and these big, beautiful airplanes are going to wind up in landfills and every other damn thing because there's just no place for them. Unless you're Bill Gates and got a whole bunch of land where you can go to do whatever you want to on it, and you're just not going to see it. So this is going to be very damaging, not only to the economy, it's going to be damaging to jobs. It's going to be damaging not just to the United States, but to the world. A lot of manufacturers that gone in and put millions and millions of dollars into research and development and everything in these airplanes is going to really suffer a major freaking blow. OS engines, Jet Cap, Tomahawk, Goldberg. I don't know if you can buy a Goldberg anymore, but anyway, you're not going to see top flight models anymore. You damn sure won't find mirrors here. You won't find anybody that's out there doing this. And it's just going to really be hurting. And you certainly will not find Hobbyco or any of these other things selling foamies anymore. These are things that are going to be a major, major catastrophe if these rules are done, but at the same time, if there's no happy medium found between the pilots and the people that are responsible, then I agree that the drones need to be regulated, but at the same time, having more state-funded and federally funded airplane fields and things like this, instead of going out and you go build a kid a skateboard park, they'll sit up. You know what? We like to have places to go fly. How many kids do you see on that skateboard park over there? None. They're too busy out playing Xbox. And so the thing is that these soccer fields, everybody's got a place to go play soccer. I live right in back one. Rugby, football, baseball. Everything's out there. All that land sitting over there and it's doing absolutely nothing. Nothing. It's flooded right now, so of course they're not going to be out there. But the thing is that when you lose an interest because it becomes against the law, then it's just like, okay, what do you do? My thing is that my whole thing between this and YouTube and everything else is saying, okay, let's build something. Let's get inspired. Let's make sure that these kids got a fighting chance to become something that they want to be. Let's not take it away from them. That's irresponsible. Let's make sure that when people come out and do things like I do, make videos that come up there and actually help the people actually come through and actually do something productive. Let's inspire our younger kids. Let's not throw them out under the damn Xbox or build them skateboard parks that mom and dad's too scared for them to go out because they're going to get hurt. It's very irresponsible to go up there and put limitations on model airplanes and call them drones. It's just not fair. That's not even the same category, never will be. I would just say that, people need to come and weigh it out. Talk to people that do it. Watch these videos. See what can and cannot be done. And then make a decision. I guarantee that if the FAA can come up there and meet with the AMA and we can talk about things as they are, and we can set up where the AMA and the FAA can come up there and actually sanction areas where we could have safe areas to fly, whether they be drones or not, and put them in two categories: line of sight and non-line of sight. I guarantee you one thing. I will absolutely 100% guarantee you this. And it's not even, it's sad, but it's the way it's going to be. Is that even if you go and you put your rule in effect and you got 400 feet, drone pilots aren't going to follow it. We suffer because we won't be able to follow a 400-foot rule under any circumstance. But the wrong people got it taken against them is what happened. And so drone pilots will always be drone pilots. They're going to do whatever the hell they want, and nobody's enforcing those rules and laws anyway. But you take it against the model airplane people, and you just killed her livelihood, and we're totally innocent. And unless we can buy into an actual club out of the way and someplace that's nowhere near anything, then we got no place to fly. So keep these things in your thoughts. And again, this is a video for the FAA, and I like it. And those that are sharing this on my channel, I appreciate it. And so, like I said, this is not a build video. This isn't about me. This isn't about my airplanes. This is about everybody. And you know what? I hope everything I said made sense, because I don't rehearse nothing. I just say what's on my mind and wing it, just like I do in my own style with these airplanes. That's how I do it. I just kind of go and ignore everything, and most of the time I feel like I'm talking to myself anyway. So anyway, I wish everybody the very best. And hopefully we can come out there and come to a common ground and make sure that everything that we do is in the best interest of everybody, whether it be drone, helicopter, or airplane pilots. I hope that we can all come to the conclusion that this needs to be done and done the right way. But again, to the FAA, taking it out on the airplane guys, model airplane, helicopter pilots, and line of sight people, it's not okay. Picking on the wrong people. And I would love to see any reports of model airplanes being abused or doing damages and these things. Or I'd like to see one single case. You show me one single case of where a model airplane got in the line of traffic of any jet airliner or any private airplane. And if it is a case that's been reported, you know exactly where that person was. Show us his AMA number, because I guarantee you, if he was in AMA, didn't happen. That being said, again, my name is Peter Dahlgren. I'm a builder from Seattle, Washington. I am an aviation mechanical technical engineer as a living. I got my start in this building model airplanes. I'm an advocate for model airplanes, and I would love to see or challenge anybody. And if anybody would like to come by and see the operations that we do and what we do and how much there is entailed, I would welcome anybody from an FAA representative, law enforcement, don't matter. Bring them on in. Come in. I will talk to everybody one-on-one. I'm more than willing to talk to our legislature or anything that we have to do when it comes regarding to the AMA and our model airplanes. And in closing, the AMA never asked me to do this. I put this on myself because I care about it. And I don't care if they wanted me to do it or not. I'm speaking my mind as one person and somebody that does care about my hobby. So, our hobby. And who knows? Come on out. Give you some stick time. Guarantee you'll be hooked. See you in funny papers, people.